When I was in high school, I joined I always tell people it was my first band because I'm not exceptionally proud of my actual first band. It was actually my second band. But Little Ivory Blues Band, I was the oldest member when we started, and I was 17 at the time. Our guitarist was 14, and we had a considerable amount of success, relatively speaking, for a young blues rock band. And it was a wonderful experience, and I value it highly. I don't necessarily miss it now for a number of reasons, but we're going to focus on the good. After several years of gaining some notoriety in the blues community and the music community in general, we got invited to play at a place called the Fish Head Cantina down in Maryland. And we were fortunate enough to have a manager that took care of all the boring shit like business. So we just got to show up where we were told to show up, play, get paid, and leave. So we didn't really know all the details about this show. We just knew that it was in Maryland. There was a whole bunch of really great bands on the bill. We were one of them. I'm not saying that we were great, and the rest of them were a lot better than us. And that it was a benefit show. These days, I always tell other musicians that you should never play for exposure. You can die of exposure, all things like that. But with honorable exceptions, if you feel particularly moved by a certain movement and you want to support it, then yes, absolutely, go play for free. But in this particular case, we figured it was a smart economic move. We were going to sort of break into the Baltimore Blues Society and go rub elbows with a bunch of really incredible musicians, having no idea what we were actually going to support. So we get down there, and it's just slammed with people. It's an incredible time. It was something like a 6 or 7 hour event starting in the afternoon and going until the wee hours. But as we're hanging out, we're talking to a whole bunch of other musicians, and they keep asking us, so how do you know Ed? And we're all like, I don't. Who's Ed? And they explained to us that Ed Forkman, not his real last name, was a beloved artist in the southern Pennsylvania, northern Maryland community who made his living by taking forks and turning them into just incredible works of jewelry and sculptures. And he had a pretty serious heart attack. And so the Baltimore Blues Society arranged this fundraiser to pay the medical bills for a man that didn't have any sort of health coverage. And all of a sudden, these 6 young men felt completely out of place because we had no idea who Ed was. But just the way that everyone talked about him, we were very honored to be there helping. But we were also just blown away by the idea that Ed wasn't a blues musician. 9 times out of 10, he was a guy in the audience, and these people appreciated him and loved him enough that they donated their time. And the Fish Head Cantina rented out the space for free and let us have this big concert. And so several months later, we get the news: Ed's all better, all of his bills are covered, and he wants Little Ivory Blues Band to come play at his annual picnic and barbecue. So I get to meet Ed, and Ed is this tall, lanky, burnout hippie, just covered in silver, bent-up forks, and just the nicest, sweetest man. Never met him before in my life, and he comes up and gives me a big hug, and just had this incredible time playing with a lot of the same bands that we played with at the Fish Head Cantina. But I'm sitting there with Ed, and I said, Ed, how'd you get into making jewelry out of forks? And he goes, Christmas presents, man. I was broke, had a lot of forks, so I started bending them into things and sending them out to family. I thought, that's fucking rad. I needed to come up with $1 million idea like that. So I guess the moral of the story, if you have to grab a moral out of something, is that there is no moral, and all of my most wonderful memories in life are just sort of reiterations of the idea that if you can do something for someone, even if it's someone that you don't know, you should do it, because it might be worth a lot more to that person than it is to you. And side note, he paid the band with fork bracelets. And I love mine.